What if the most mesmerising ink that you've seen could also destroy your favourite pen? No, I'm not talking about Bay State Blue. Today, I'm diving into this breathtaking Robert Oster Bantham Blue. It's a Cult Pens exclusive, a stunning ink named after a beautiful beach in Devon in the UK. It's a beautiful blue with gold shimmer. You can see the blue on the edges of the bottle there and the shimmer clinging to the edges, and we'll come on to that because this comes with a serious warning, and let's find out why. This is a sample from Cult Pens in the UK. You can grab a sample from their sparkle and shimmer box or the full 50 milliliter bottle. I'm going to pour some from this sample into this little plastic cup because these sample bottles, they're great if you want to eyedropper a pen. However, they can be quite tricky if you need to use a dip pen, which is what I'm going to use today. Right, just before I do this, I'm going to pop the lid back on and give it a quick shake because, as you would have seen from me showing you, this gold shimmer really likes to stick to the outside of the bottle. Quick shake to get all of that up. And then let's pop some in here, see what it looks like. So you can't really get a sense from in that container what this actually looks like. To start off with, let's do a swatch with the cotton bud. And you can see already that beautiful blue color coming out, going from a darker kind of shade of the Mediterranean all to this light sky blue. As that dries, the gold shimmer will start to come out as well. And if we do a quick writing sample, let's just get plenty on the dip pen. Got Robert Oster. Bantham Blue. And this is on the dip pen. I'll try and get a bit of coverage from the side of a dip pen there as well. You can see it really comes out with a darker colour. The darker shade of the ink. This really reminds me when the ink starts to dry and you start to get that glisten. Let's just have glisten coming from the gold on the shimmer. I think this is starting to come through a little bit now. Just try and get you very, very close in. You can just start to see that gold shining off the page. Now this is a Rhodia 90 GSM paper. It's pretty good, holds up well to this ink. You don't really see that much ghosting on it. It's holding up well, and see this where we just have a glass dip pen. I don't know if you can see the gold that sat in there. That's incredibly lush gold shimmer that just starts to come through in the thick spots of this ink. Really reminds me of when I've been to a beach before and it's a summer's day. You've got the beautiful turquoise of the water. You've got the sun sparkling and dazzling off the sand and off the top of the waves. It really comes through in this ink for me. Just going to show you what this looks like with a slightly thicker dip pen. So the glass dip pen has a very, very fine nib. This one's a Sailor Hiroko with 2mm nib on it. It does tend to scratch a little bit though. So let's see. You can hear that scratching there, and it was very thick. I've got the ink feed on this one. See if I can show you a little bit closer. No, it doesn't want to autofocus today. a little bit. So this has got the feed in there, which means that it holds a little bit more ink. And I think for the 2mm, you really do need this. Try and get a nice thick line of this. It's a beautiful colour, beautiful colour. Now we've just lost the ink. There we go. Some nice solid lines. When it comes through in the solid lines, it's darker. It really gets that saturation. That's where you tend to see the gold shimmer as well. If we move on, this is the real test. The ink's absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful, at least in my opinion. But one of the problems that I've found is in fountain pens. So I said that this wasn't Bay State Blue, but it's got some similar properties that you probably want to use this in a cheaper fountain pen. So I've got this in my Pilot Vector. It's definitely one of my cheaper ones, but it's one that I don't really care too much about. And the reason why you want to put this in a cheaper pen, well, if you read on the Cult Pens website about this ink, in the sample box, they say that this is really for dip pen use only. It does say when you look to buy the 50ml bottle, you can use it in a fountain pen. Absolutely agree. You can use this in a fountain pen, but it is just very viscous. You can see, maybe you can see from on the side of this cartridge converter, the ink really doesn't want to move. There's an air bubble sat there and it's very, very, very slow to move anywhere at all. Gold shimmer really does sit on the outside. You saw that from the bottle, how it forms on here, and it's really just sat there. You have to give it a really good shake up to get that moving. And it's exactly the same in a fountain pen. So if you load your pen up with this ink, the first couple of days it's probably going to be generally fine. But then after the first few days and it starts to dry and it starts to form in the feed, that's when you start to get into difficulties. So this has been inked up for a little while now, and I haven't used it in probably a week. So let's just put some ink on there. Just writing some nonsense. You know, you can see it drying up very, very quickly. And if I turn this to the reverse side to try and get it flowing, I don't know if you can hear this, but there's a definite click or crunch. And this pen did not used to do that. I think what's happening here is that in the tines of the pen, we've got. I'll just move these out of the way a little bit more. Inside the tines of the pen there, and probably behind the feed as well. I think the viscosity of the ink has started to dry, make the ink dry a little bit. And some of those shimmer particles are probably stuck in there. So I think this is going to need a really, really good clean to try and get things moving. Dip it in a little bit of water and see if we can get some more flowing. When it does flow, the ink is stunning and beautiful. And I've been using this in my journal earlier on in the month. And the gold shimmer coming from the ink as well looks really nice on the page. If you can get it to the stage where it's this darker color going to a lighter color and you're not having this patchy writing. Here we go. It seems to be flowing right now. No. It's just so patchy. What I'd be tempted to do is I'm going to eject this back into my little pot. And I don't know if you can see that from there, but you can just see these drops of ink. They're just so sticky. A little bit better towards the end. I wonder if this ink would be any better if it were watered down just a little touch. It does affect the colour, so I probably wouldn't want to do that. I'm just going to try and fill this by holding it in here like this and not spilling. I'm just going to refill and we'll see what happens. Okay. And you can see that is immediately much better. So immediately better. It's still some skips. This pen doesn't skip at all in usual operation. So I guess it's just the ink coming back through. Maybe some of that dried in between the tines. What I'll do is I'll give it a quick clean. I'll clean it off and we'll try again and come back. So I've given this a quick clean out. All I've done is just submerge this in water. I've given it a couple of quick runs through until it's clear. I've given it a little dry off. What I haven't done is taken any of the nib or feed apart. And I can get this to zoom in. You will see that this is quite heavily caked on around the feed and around the nib. So the thing to do with this, I think, would be to take it apart completely, give it a really good clean, and maybe even put it into the ultrasonic cleaner. Just really get all of that rubbish that's built up over time from drying out of the pen. It does write a lot better, and it's just flowing a lot more freely. And you can really see the blue. And it's just a joy to write with. There's no skipping, nothing at all. So it does work in fountain pens. It will play nicely for a time. If this was your daily driver, what I'd be very, very tempted to do is every couple of days, empty this back out. Still getting that crunching noise just on the reverse side of the pen. So I will take this apart. I'll pop it in the ultrasonic cleaner and see if that improves things on this. But we'll maybe come back to that another time. This Robert Oster Bantham Blue, absolutely beautiful blue. I really love the color. I really enjoy the gold shimmer that you get suspended on the page, and it's for me, it's like looking into the glistening sand on a beach on a hot summer's day with turquoise water over the top of it, and you just get that sparkle and shimmer. So nice. So what's the takeaway? Robert Oster Bantham Blue is undeniably a stunning ink. The colour, the shimmer, it's like a dream on paper when it's flowing through the nib of your pen correctly. So if you're using this in a fountain pen, you need to proceed with caution. Use a cheap pen. Don't go putting this in vintage pens. It's similar with other shimmer inks, but this one is a little bit thicker. The shimmer's a little bit more sticky. You can see sticking to the side, really sticking to the side. Some of the other shimmer inks that I've got, they definitely don't do that, and especially the diamine shimmer inks that I've got. So proceed with caution. Stick to pens that you don't mind spending the extra time cleaning, or just use dip pens for the full effect without any stress. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think about this ink, if you've tried it before, and let me know what ink I should test next. I'm always on the lookout for more ink adventures. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.